Hey guys, so this week we're going to be taking a look at travel bags. And the bag that we're going to be taking a look at this week is a little bit different from what we've had here in the past. It's a really interesting bag that really wants to try to be the one bag that you can use in just about any scenario. So, it's a really lofty goal. And the bag itself has a lot of really creative features that I'm really excited to take a look at with you guys. So the bag that we're going to be looking at is the A10 Adjustable Bag from a company called Piorama. And so this bag is really unique in the fact that it can be configured in 10 different ways. So it can be expanded or collapsed into multiple volumes, and it comes with backpack straps as well as a single strap to allow you to carry this bag as a regular duffel bag, as a day bag, as a big travel bag, as a larger duffel bag, as a sling. So there's really a lot of different ways that you could configure both the straps and the volume to kind of suit whatever you're looking to use the bag for. And so I had seen a few different bags like this on the market, but I hadn't really heard of Piorama before. And they reached out and asked if I'd be interested in testing the bag out and seeing if it would be something I'd want to share with you guys. And so they were kind enough to send a bag over for me to test out. And I've been using this for a few weeks and just kind of, seeing how it works as a travel bag, as a day bag, and just kind of playing around with the different configurations and the straps. And I have to say it's a really cool bag. So I want to thank the company for sending the bag over for me to test out. And I'm really excited to just kind of go through the different features and talk about, how well this bag works as a day bag, as a travel bag, and whether it can be kind of the one bag that you use for all purposes. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a closer look at the A10 Adjustable Bag. And so this was a really interesting bag to review just because of all the different configurations that the bag offered. So as I mentioned in the intro, the bag is actually almost like 3 bags in one. So it has 3 different volumes that you can use it at. One of them is about 31 liters, which is the size that you see here. It can also be used at a 46 liter capacity and a 62 liter capacity. So the bag can get really big and really hold a ton of stuff. So for the purposes of this video, the first thing I wanted to do was just kind of review it just at the 31 liter capacity. It's probably the most close to the bags that we reviewed here on the channel so far. And if you've watched a lot of the videos that I've done, you know that that's typically around the size that I like to use for travel bags. I think it's kind of that nice sweet spot where it's not so big that it's ever going to get checked on an airplane, and it fits nicely into an overhead compartment, and it's even small enough to kind of use for daily use if you just want to try to travel with just the one bag. So I really just want to go through this whole video and showcase what I have in the bag and just talk a little bit about what it was like to use it at the 31 liter configuration, because that's the one that I primarily used as I was testing the bag. But afterwards, I'll definitely get into kind of what the bag looks like at those bigger liters and just talk a little bit about the bag at those size configurations. So just starting out with the outside of the bag, the color that I have here is navy. The bag is offered in several different colors. I have a black, a red, a camo version. So I'll make sure to include a link in the description below to Piorama's website so you can see all the different color options that they have. And so as I mentioned, the color that I have here is navy, and I really like this color. I don't really have a lot of navy bags, so I was really excited to be able to test it out in this color. The bag itself is made out of kind of a really durable nylon canvas PU coated material. It also has some pretty nice feeling SB water resistant zippers. They all kind of have the water guard, so the main compartment zipper and the zippers for the outer compartments all have kind of that same water resistant sealing to help keep water out. And so I haven't really ever used SB zippers before. I'm very used to using YKK. Most of the bags these days seem to favor YKK zippers. So I'm not sure how these compare to the YKK zippers, but they seem pretty durable so far. And as I mentioned, I just really like that they have that water resistance. And the rest of the bag also feels like it's going to hold up pretty well to the elements and help keep water out. So, it feels pretty sturdy overall. As far as the form factor, it really does look a lot just like a more traditional duffel bag. So it reminds me a lot of the duffel that we reviewed a while back from a company called Suvam, which is, a more traditional, just, wide opening duffel bag. It also reminds me a little bit of the in-case Tracto Split, which was one of the earliest bags that we reviewed on the channel. It also had kind of a very durable material. It looked very much like just like a traditional duffel bag, but it also had, backpack straps that you could use to carry it on your back if you had a lot of weight or if you're just more comfortable using a bag that way. So overall, it's a really nice form factor. It's really easy to pack, especially if you have kind of a lot of bulkier items. Before getting into the contents of the bag, I definitely want to talk a little bit about kind of the handles and the straps. So if you look at the top of the bag, you'll notice that it has about 3 different handles. And the reason for that is that the company really wanted to ensure that the bag was comfortable to carry, regardless of which size you were using it at. So if you're using it at kind of this 30 liter capacity, there's a single handle here at the top so that you can just hold it like a regular duffel bag. But if you expand one side to get to that 46 liter volume, there's a separate handle here that would help you be able to always be holding the bag from the center as opposed to having it, droop to one side if you're holding it from a handle. So really nice that the company just kind of had their eye on making sure that this was usable at all volumes. As I mentioned, the bag itself comes with 2 removable backpack straps. And so these are pretty comfortable. They have like a really nice meshy, breathable material on the straps. They're a little bit thinner than some of the backpack straps that we've looked at on a lot of travel bags in the past. So they're not quite as comfortable as some of those, but they're still pretty soft and they still feel like it would be pretty comfortable to wear, for a pretty long period during the day. I really like how the straps come way up here at the top to make sure that they cover your shoulders so that your shoulders look nice and comfortable as you're wearing the bag for longer periods of time. These straps themselves are really easy to remove. They just have kind of these really durable feeling plastic clips. Here at the top near the shoulder, they have a little strap to help keep that shoulder piece really connected and making sure it stays in place as you're wearing the bag around the city or something like that. And it just has some really thick, durable feeling clips that are very easy to remove so that you can move between configurations of the bag. And one thing that I like here at the bottom is that it has additional clips farther off to the side. So one problem that I had when I tried out the in-case Tracto duffel is that the straps themselves were almost a little bit too narrow up close to the bag. So the bottom piece of the straps would tend to dig into your lower back. And that would be really obnoxious to wear, and it would get very uncomfortable as you wore the bag as a backpack during a full day. So I really like that the company kind of addressed that issue. You do still have those straps at the bottom that are closer together if that's the configuration you want to use. But if you want a little bit more comfort or you feel like they're digging into your back, I really like that they added these 2 side loops here to allow you to space out the straps a little bit. And it just gets a little bit more ergonomic and comfortable to wear for a longer period of time if you're using these side straps. And it really helps prevent these buckles on the bottom from digging into your side. So really love that they implemented that. And I think that definitely makes the bag a little bit easier to wear as a backpack. If, however, you prefer to not wear the bag as a backpack, especially if you're using this, as a daily gym bag or something like that, the bag does include a single strap that's meant to allow you to use this bag as a duffel. And so, you can kind of there's a lot of different ways to configure the buckles on the straps, and you just kind of have to play with it a little bit to see which one's going to suit you the best and be the most comfortable to carry. So when I use the bag as a duffel, I just use these 2 kind of thicker buckles on the back along with the single handle, especially in the 31-liter configuration. I think this is what works best and really allows this to just function very well as a traditional duffel. So here I just am able to hold it by that one handle, and then here I have the duffel strap, and as you can see, it just looks like a regular duffel. So if you need a nice gym bag or you just feel more comfortable wearing this on your shoulder during the day, this is a good configuration for that. If, however, you also wanted to wear this as a sling bag, you can configure the straps to allow you to swing it around as well, and that's also a comfortable way to carry it. So I really love just the different versatility and how many different ways you can configure the bag to wear based on the types of things that you're going to be carrying and also what you're going to be using the bag for. So really nicely implemented there. As far as wearing the bag as a backpack, the only complaint I'll mention, and this is something that seems to be a problem with all duffel bags that are meant to kind of be worn as backpacks, is that there's no back padding. So that's really the one thing that can get a little bit uncomfortable. As you're wearing this for a long period of time during the day, your back's going to get pretty sweaty. There's not any room for airflow, and it's just not soft either. So there's not any padding or anything like that. You just kind of have the handles and the actual material of the duffel bag. So it's, that's kind of a dilemma for any bag that tries to do this. There's the same problem with the nomadic travel bag and also with the in-case Tracto duffel. They really want to be travel backpacks as well as duffels, but it's an issue that plagued them as well. So the part that actually laid on your back just wasn't that comfortable and didn't provide that much airflow. So unfortunately that's also a problem here. It's not that the bag is too uncomfortable to wear, but it's not meant to lay on your back for long periods of time during the day, such as something like an actual travel backpack like the Tortuga Outbreaker that we've looked at in the past, or the Air Travel Pack, which have just really padded back panels that are very comfortable and have a lot of airflow to help keep your bag a little bit drier during the day. So, this is definitely not something that's limited just to this bag, but unfortunately it is an issue that continues if you're trying to use this as a backpack. So just something to note. Continuing on with the outside of the bag, there's not too much organization to be found. It seems very much like a traditional duffel bag, so it's just kind of got the one outer compartment here that's quick access. So if you have some accessories that you want to get to quickly as you're traveling or during the day, you know, this is definitely the pocket where you're going to want to stick that. So anything like boarding documents or a passport. And so the first thing about this pocket that really surprised me is just how big it is. I was able to fit a lot more than I expected. And you know, it is just a big pocket, so things are kind of floating around. But the size itself was really nice. And so the first thing I have in here is a passport wallet from a company called Nomad Lane. This is a really nice travel wallet that just allows me to keep my passport and my boarding pass and a few credit cards and some cash or something like that, just all in one organized spot. It also offers RFID protection. And so we reviewed this a while back on the channel. I also have a portable Bluetooth speaker as well as power bank. So this is a product called the Blue Pot from a company called Resonado. We reviewed this a few weeks ago on the channel. And then the last item I have in here is my GoPro Hero 3 Plus. You know, this is something I'll probably want to access pretty quickly during the day as I'm moving around, especially on a trip. And so it fits in there really nicely. As I mentioned earlier, the pocket does have a zipper with water resistance. So, you know, I do feel like my stuff is going to be protected. You know, it is pretty accessible and it's not lockable. So if I was walking around during the day in a city, I would be a little hesitant to put something like a wallet or any cash in there just because it's pretty easy to access. But you know, as I'm actually traveling through the airport or something like that and I want to get in and out quickly, I think this is a really good pocket. If you're wearing the bag as a backpack, it's also really nice that you can access this pocket while you're wearing it. You can just kind of reach around and easily grab whatever you want to get from in this pocket if you have snacks or anything like that. So really nicely done and a pretty useful pocket overall. So moving on to the main compartment, it's really nice that it has a lockable zipper. And so currently I just have a pretty simple cable combination lock here, but it's really nice that the zipper itself is lockable. It's nice to have that just added layer of security. And so really nicely done there. The bag has kind of a traditional duffel bag opening, so it's really nice that you can just put this on the ground or in your hotel room and really just open it wide and see everything that you have packed at once. This also just makes packing easier in my opinion. I really like how easy it is to pack duffel bags. That's one of the advantages of using a duffel as opposed to a traditional kind of travel backpack in my opinion. So I really like that packing was very easy with this bag overall. And so what I've gone ahead and done for this video is filled this up with the same kind of travel items that I've used in all my other travel videos. So, you know, the same items I've used for bags like the Tortuga Outbreaker or the Air Travel Pack, just so that you can see kind of how it compares at this 31 liter volume with those bags. And so the first thing I'll point out is that unfortunately, because this is more of a traditional duffel bag as opposed to kind of a tech bag, there's no protective compartments for something like a laptop or a tablet or anything like that. And there's just not much organization in the bag as a whole. So if you do want to carry a laptop with you or something like that, you'll definitely want to make sure to put it in a sleeve. As you can see here, I just kind of put my laptop in here plainly, more for size comparisons, but I definitely wouldn't travel with my laptop like this. It would not be protected at all. And so if you do want to carry any sort of electronics with this bag, definitely make sure that you get some sort of additional protection. But you know, it does fit in there pretty comfortably. And I also have my BagSmart cable organizer. I don't always travel with this when I'm using travel bags just because the backpacks typically have a lot of compartments for you to put your cables and tech and things like that. But because this bag doesn't offer quite as much organization, but it does offer a lot of space, I thought it would just be easier to just throw in the organizer that I use on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, I also have my double-sided packing cube, the larger one that I typically carry with my jeans and pants and dress shirts and things like that. I also have my Air Dop Kit with all my toiletries, and I really love using this Dop Kit. It's my favorite still for traveling. And I also have a smaller packing cube with some t-shirts, socks, underwear, things like that. And I didn't include it in the footage that you saw there, but I also have a pair of Toms. I never travel without my Toms, and they did also fit in there very comfortably. So I really like that the bag in its smallest configuration is already able to hold most of the items that I travel with on a regular basis. So in order to get to the smaller volume of the bag, you have to collapse the two ends of the bag into the inside, and then they're held together by a strap here on the outside, which we'll look at a little bit more closely in a second. But the main thing I want to call out here is that when you collapse the bag into itself, there is some of the volume taken up by those areas, so that you can see that here in the footage. On the inside, there's two very simple kind of zipper pockets that provide some organization to help keep smaller items separate and just from floating around on the inside of the bag. So in the first pocket, what I have is some field notes. You know, I really like to travel with a little notebook wherever I go. And then I also have my Mocreo travel adapter. So this is, you know, just something that allows me to plug into a variety of outlets across the world. So really useful item to have. And the pocket itself is pretty big, so there's plenty of leftover space even with those items in there, but I just don't have that many items for each pocket. And then in the other internal zipper pocket, what I've gone ahead and done is just included my 5-port USB hub from PowerBot. This is one of my favorite travel items as well. It just makes it really convenient to charge multiple items at once. So never go anywhere without that. And that's pretty much it. So, overall, as I said, just pretty basic duffel style bag. Lots of space for you to organize your items the way that you like to. I really like duffels because they very much favor kind of modular packing. They allow me to pack bulkier items in very easily. And I like that it has just a few pockets on the inside to keep things organized. And it's just very simple but useful overall. One last thing I'll call out about the inside is I do like that the lining is a really bright blue that provides a nice contrast so that you can easily see everything that's inside the bag. And so as I mentioned earlier in the video, the bag has 3 different volume sizes. We've been looking at the 31-liter size, but it also expands to a 46-liter version and a 62-liter version. And I don't think I'll typically use sizes like this. Most of the travel that I do is, in airplanes, so anything above 40, I think, is likely going to cause you some trouble if you don't want to check a bag. Especially if you're traveling in Europe or Asia on kind of the smaller airlines with the small planes. So, I typically wouldn't use those, but I do think it's nice to have that variety and capacity in these bags, especially if you're doing a road trip or something like that. Or if you are traveling for longer term and you really want to take, just that extra bit of stuff and you don't mind checking a bag, it works well for that as well. It's really nice that you can remove all the straps and you can just check this bag, and the chances are it's just not going to get caught on anything. It's going to look really sleek. So, there are use cases for when you might want such a large bag. And so when I first got the bag, I was a little confused about how to use everything just because I'd never used a bag like this hands-on. But the company does include some nice instructions on the tag that really explain just how you kind of move between the different versions of the bag. It also has some pictures to demonstrate, different ways that you might use the straps and the duffel strap and ways that you can hold the handles and things like that. So it's nice that kind of that guidance was included because it's not immediately intuitive how you might use the bag. But once you take a look at the instructions and just do it a few times, it's pretty simple to move between the different volumes. Everything is done through these kind of drawstring closures on each side of the bag. So when you want to move to the 46-liter capacity in the bag, you just undo one of the drawstring closures and expand out a portion of the bag. And so it doesn't really matter which side you expand at a time because the straps seem to work well regardless of, there's not really a top or bottom of the bag from what I could see. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and expand out this side right here. And so as I mentioned, there's just a very simple to use drawstring kind of area here that you use to collapse the bag in on itself. And so the drawstring itself is pretty long. Thankfully, the company kind of thought about that and, to prevent any just drawstrings from dangling around while you're wearing the bag, they have included this nice kind of magnetized pocket where you can tuck away the extra drawstring. And so when you want to expand the capacity of the bag out, you just release the drawstring and then you can pull out using the handle at the end of the bag, you can pull out the extra volume. And so as you can see here, I've just pulled out half of the bag. And so now it's at that 46-liter capacity. And once you expand the bag out, the bag has additional backpack straps at the top so that you can readjust to make it more comfortable to wear. This is also where you can readjust the duffel strap if you want to make sure that it covers the entire length of the bag. So it's really nice that you're not forced to continue to use the same straps for a multiple volume size bag. You can just kind of adjust the straps based on how big the bag gets. As soon as I pull this size out, the bag gets to about a 46-liter volume. So this is still a pretty good travel size bag. At 46 liters, definitely something that's still comfortable to wear as a backpack. And, on some bigger airlines, you may even get away with not having to check it necessarily. Especially because duffels can collapse a little bit or they're a little bit more flexible in their body. They're not rigid like a suitcase or anything like that. Sometimes you can get away with larger volumes like this. And if you're wearing it on your back, it doesn't look quite as big. So I really like that. Definitely overkill for the items that I typically carry with for a week or 2 week trip. If 46 liters is just not quite enough space and I really want to just carry, my life with me, the bag, as I mentioned, has a 62-liter configuration. So the other side of the bag is identical to the side that we just looked at. So it has that same kind of magnetized pocket to hold kind of the leftover drawstring string. And you can just release the drawstring, open the bag up, and using the handle at the end, you can pull out the second half of the bag. So now it's fully expanded, and at its largest capacity, it's 62 liters. As you can see, this is a monster. This thing is huge. I'm pretty sure I could fit probably most of the possessions that I have into this duffel bag at the 62-liter configuration. So just for size comparisons here, I'm holding the Air Travel Pack, which is probably the backpack that I use the most to travel, next to the bag at this 62-liter configuration. And as you can see, it's about twice as big as that backpack. You know, the Air Travel Pack is 33 liters, and this one is currently 62 at its largest capacity. So it's just a really big bag. And you know, it's really nice that the bag can get that big, but when you're using it as a small bag, you can't even tell. So it's really nice just how well the bag works in all three configurations. You know, as you expand the bag out even further, similarly to when we moved to the 46-liter version, there's additional straps. So every time that you expand the bag out to a bigger version, there's different clips to accommodate for that, to allow you to always be wearing the bag in a way that's comfortable. And so you're not forced to adjust to wearing the bag as you would be with a smaller size, which is really nice. You know, 62 liters is huge. I think there are very few times where I will typically find myself using a bag that big. Probably even the 46 liters is something I won't use that often, but that's kind of the point of what the bag wants to be, is to just be that bag that you can use regardless of whatever situation you need in life. So, you know, if I want to travel for a weekend or a week or something like that, or if I just want a bag to kind of take to work with me to hold my gym clothes and everything like that, this is a great option. And if I need to move one day for my apartment, I could probably pack it all up and move in here as well. And then as a last bonus, a cool thing about the bag is if you don't want to use it, or you know, you have limited space in your house and you just want to make everything look a little bit neater, the bag actually folds into itself into a really nice, small, kind of compact package. So the tag that the bag came with actually has instructions for how to do this as well, because I'm terrible at folding stuff up into, you know, their small original size. But what you can do is fold it into itself, pull on the drawstring, and then you just have a really nice compact bag that you can store easily anywhere in your house. So overall, you know, the bag I think delivers pretty well on its promises to be the versatile bag that you can use in many different situations. I don't think this would be the ideal bag for me to use on a day-to-day basis. 30 liters is still a little bit bigger than the type of bag that I typically carry with me to work, or if I'm exploring the city or something like that. You know, that to me is more like a 20 to 24 liter bag is a little more ideal for that. And because when you're wearing this as a backpack, there's not a lot of padding on the back, it's just not as comfortable as a lot of the other day bags that we've looked at here. So it probably wouldn't be a good replacement for that. But if I was traveling and I only wanted to use this bag, I think I could get away with, you know, using it on a day-to-day basis after I arrive at my hotel and take out all my travel items. So overall, it can be used as a daily bag. It's probably not ideal, but overall the bag itself, I believe, delivered well on its promises to offer a lot of versatility, and I think it's a pretty great bag. So overall, I was really impressed with how well the A10 bag worked for a lot of different purposes. You know, I really loved just how configurable it was and the fact that it has 3 different volumes that you can use the bag for. I think it works well as a travel bag and as a traditional duffel bag, and it has a lot of really unique features that separate it out from bags that we've looked at on the channel, such as the In-Case Tracto Split Duffel. And so the bag itself costs about $150 on Piorama's website, which I think is a pretty reasonable price considering just how versatile the bag is, how big and small it can get, and just how many different configurations it allows you to use with all the different straps that it includes. And so as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we've reviewed the In-Case Tracto Split Duffel here on the channel, as well as, you know, a few other duffel bags like the Nomadic Travel Duffel. You know, this bag compares pretty well to the In-Case bag and the duffel from Suvom. You know, as I noted a few times during the video, this does work primarily well as a traditional duffel bag. So what I mean by that is that it doesn't have kind of the more tech-oriented features that something like the Nomadic Travel Duffel or even something like the In-Case Tracto, not the split duffel, but the In-Case Tracto that we reviewed as well on the channel. You know, those bags were a little bit more focused on kind of the more modern digital nomad. They had a lot of compartments for things like your laptop and tablet and just chargers and things like that. So this bag, you know, it has a few kind of organizational pockets, but it's not really meant to serve as a tech travel bag per se. So for its purposes as just a plain travel bag that, you know, has a ton of space for you to pack whatever you want, and you know, you can kind of travel with your electronics in little pouches and protective cases, as I mentioned during the video. So if you want to bring a laptop, you'd have to get like an external sleeve that you could use to put it in here. And you know, I have all my travel cables in little pouches, which I didn't have to do when I used bags such as the Nomadic Travel Bag. And so if you're just looking for a more traditional duffel or just a bag with a ton of space, I think this is a great bag to go with. At $150, it's not cheap. It's a little bit of an investment, but you do get a lot of versatility out of the bag. So the bag that we reviewed from Suvom that was just kind of a traditional duffel bag, and there's a lot of similar bags to that one. It was about $50 on Amazon, so definitely a little bit cheaper than this, but maybe not quite as durable and definitely not as versatile. We reviewed the In-Case Tracto Split duffel, which is, also a more traditional duffel bag. It doesn't have kind of those tech compartments and that much organization internally. So that's a pretty good comparison to this bag, I think. It also has the removable backpack straps, and you can also use it as a traditional duffel. And that bag is about $150 as well on Amazon or on In-Case's site. And so, I think that's probably the best comparison to make with this bag. And I think this bag is a little bit better than the In-Case Tracto duffel. Even though it doesn't split open like the Tracto did to allow you to pack it like a suitcase, I just think that this was a little bit more comfortable to wear. I really like how many ways they allow you to configure the straps. I just really think it's cool that this is almost like 3 bags in one. I think it's really versatile, and if you're just looking for something like the In-Case Tracto that's a little bit more versatile or, has a little bit more space for the price that you're paying, I think this is a pretty good alternative to consider. If you're looking for something a little bit more tech focused, or that will be a little bit more versatile as far as internal organization and just protection for your delicate gear, I would definitely recommend taking a look at something like the Nomadic Travel Bag or the In-Case Tracto kind of more backpack version that we looked at on the channel. Nomadic Travel Bag is about $220 and the In-Case Tracto is about $250. So, you are investing a little bit more as opposed to this one, which is $150. So, there's a lot of different trade-offs that you want to take into account. But overall, I think this is a great option. I was really impressed with, just how useful and versatile it was, and I really like kind of the style, and it seems like it's going to be a bag that's going to hold up pretty well over the long term. So I want to go ahead and thank Piorama again for sending over the bag for us to test out. I was very impressed, and I'm really excited I got to share the bag with you guys. And if you guys found this video useful, please go ahead and give us a like below. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.